Hi guys, Christine here, and I wanted to give a quick preview for the newest kit, the one I'll be assembling here in this video. And it's called Pockets Full of Woe, and it has a decidedly Wednesday Addams vibe to it. It's fun and playful, only a little bit dark in spots, and has some really fun elements and features that I think you'll enjoy, including this pocket on the front, which is optional. And we'll talk about that as we go into the video. One thing that does not get discussed while I'm putting the video together was that when I was creating it, I wasn't sure if I was going to use the Serenade of Woe as my cover or the blue stripes. And because I couldn't decide, I'm including them both. But I wound up doing the Serenade of Woe, but it could be just as fun with the floral stripes as a cover idea, and then you could add other elements in here, or there's just so many options. And that's the beauty of this kit that I really love, that it is so flexible. So many of these elements can be used anywhere in the kit, and you really get to express your own creativity and sense of woe. A couple of things I did here is I have this that I created into a pocket and a tuck spot, and here I created this into a pocket, but in the kit itself there's another section of artwork, and it's attached to a pattern, so you could cut it out together and use it as a booklet cover or a journaling space, or even glue it shut as a tag of its own. And again, it's just filled with all sorts of things that make it really fun to work with, because you have so many possibilities. So that's it, and let's go make this baby. Very happy that you're here today and watching this, and I'm going to share with you a new kit that I'm putting together, and I need to build the actual folio before I can go a lot further. And the kit's called Pockets Full of Woe, and it's based obviously on Wednesday's Child is Full of Woe. And there's a gate, an old wrought iron kind of gothic gate, and that's the cover. So this would be the thing that you would see, and then you'd open it up and there'd be pockets full of woe. How clever am I? But I thought, well, I want the front to have a pocket on it, but I didn't want to cover this up. So I thought, well, you could fussy cut a second print, and that would allow for a pocket, and just glue it to the front on these three sides, and then stick items inside, and that would be a very simple and easy way to do it. So you've got these two choices. You've got plain, a pocket, or, because it's not Christine unless she goes a little bit further, I wondered, could I do it on the Cricut? And I could. And it really cut a very nice gate. So this could be a pocket as well. I realize everyone doesn't have a Cricut. That's why I've provided it in these other possibilities. But I really loved how when you slide something in here, it's transparent. You can see through the bars of the gate. So that's what I thought, well, gee, I'll just do that. And then I had this other idea, and this is going to surprise any of you who've seen my other videos. What happened, I wondered, if we embossed it? I know you guys think I probably embossed my brains out. I don't. I have not embossed anything, seriously, except for the last couple weeks, since like Christmas 2 years ago. But this seemed like a perfect application for this, because it did two things. One, it gave that look of metal, which, how perfect is that when you're using it as a gate? And two, it did help fortify the delicate pieces in this piece. So one thing I'll mention is that I made a video while I was doing this. I did the front side twice, and then I did the back side of just this top area where it was curling a little bit, I think mainly from the heat. It may not be necessary. You may have different experience, but anyway, that's what I did. So now, a couple of things to mention about this is I'm going to go ahead and build this one, because it's the one I'm going to want to put in my journal. But I think any of these would be equally captivating in your journal. So if you don't want a fussy cut and you just want something that speaks of the emotion, this will do it. And then if you want a pocket on the front, this will do it. Then if you want a fancy pocket on the front, the one thing I'll mention about this is it would not be a bad idea to consider adding some vellum to it. Because this is a very delicate cutout, and while I've been working with them, I've had no issues. I've been sliding things in and out of them without any issue at all. It might not be a bad thing to protect this side from where you're going to be sliding things in. So I say that as a, maybe you want to consider it, sort of. It's up to you. And I make no claims to whether it makes it better or worse. It just makes it different. So, but you can still see through it, and these delicate areas are protected. But again, I've been using it for several days now while I've been working on this, and I haven't had any issues. But one wrong move could change that. So there you go. We're going to start putting this together. I'm going to, like I said, use this because I do have a Cricut machine and I do have embossing powder. So I hope that you'll do whatever strikes you to do with any of these pieces for your cover. And please let me know what they are. I would love to see what you're doing. So please share. So let me get my materials together and then I'll be back and we'll start constructing this. It should go together pretty quickly. So as I mentioned, we're going to put this together and we have a couple of options. So here's the cover if it were just printed and cut. And here's the cover that I'm going to make that includes the pocket. So I'm thinking, since this is going to be the front and then there's going to be another piece taped here, or adhered to this side, and then a few other pockets and pages, what I thought I would do to keep it simple and not bulk it up too much is use the double-sided tape. Now again, double-sided tape, not everybody has it, and it's not everybody's favorite material. But in this case, I think it would be a good option. It would also be a good option if you were using the vellum that I mentioned earlier, to stick that to both the cutout, to the Cricut, whatever you call this, the Cricut cutout, and to stick it to the page. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So right now, I'm just going to stick this to the front. And I've already scored it, and you can see when it cuts, I did not have it score in the Cricut file, or in the SVG, I couldn't have. But in your Cricut file, you could designate the score lines. And I will create a page, which I haven't done yet. I will create a page that does include the score lines that might help you in assembly. And especially if you do the other kind of pocket, that just fussy cut the pocket out, it might just help you to be able to line it up. All right, one more piece of this tape and then we should be good to go and close this up. Okay. All right, so now let me grab my little happy tool. I don't know where my happy tool went, so I'll just use the knife. So now I'm going to simply remove this tape. I've already lined it up. I know it's where I want it to be because remember, this double-sided tape is not very forgiving. It's certainly not like Fabri-Tac or Fabri-Fix. I hate when that happens because then it makes a big glob. There we go. All right, 1. 2. And 3. Oh, come on, you guys, it's so fun. Okay, so now to begin the rest of the construction, what's going to happen is that this is going to be the cover. It's going to open. This is the middle sheet, and then there's another sheet that goes, nope, wrong one. There's another sheet that goes here. So what we want to do is, I can see I did not trim this one well. I might have to stop and print out another one of these because this one is really skinny and these are not. I don't know if I just miscut it. But in any event, I'll continue with this page. I've already scored down this line, and I've inked the back of it because it could show. And because of that, we never want that white fleshy stuff, right? So this I'm going to put here, and we're going to make sure it's lined up. And I'm going to glue it right to here. We're doing this now because we're going to cover this side, and I needed a way to hinge this without bulking up this edge too much. And then another sheet is going to hinge on this side. So we needed to stagger where those hinges are. So now, little happy glue. So this one does attach a little differently. Normally you'd wrap it around, but this time we're wrapping the face to the back. Or I'm sorry, the back to the back. And so we can see the face. You'll see what I mean when I do it. Okay, so I didn't check the glue before starting this, but it doesn't look too bad. I think it's going to sort of behave, maybe a little. It's coming out, not as fluidly as I'd like it, but it is coming out. It might need a little acetone. We'll see. Okay, so now we're going to, I'm going to turn this around just so I can see it a little bit better. I hope you can still see it. We're going to stick this here, right up to the edge. And you want to keep it obviously as straight as possible. Okay. And get all your glue out of the way. Okay, so that's going to be like that. Now this guy would go here, but it's really way too small. I'm not quite sure why. Let me see, I have another one. A little misprint I had. There, that one's cut better. But of course it's not inked. So give me a second because we don't want to keep me up at night wondering why are things not inked? Or why is there that white spot? I'll try and be quick. So we got the snow that I was talking about last time, and unfortunately my husband's away, so the shoveling was mine. And I tell you, it was quite the upper body workout, which I did appreciate for about the first hour. So, and then that was the other night, it was like 3 nights ago. And then last night, we got some snow and then some crappy stuff. So wait, let me get my glue. Okay, sorry, I had a little bit of a household hiccup there. All right, so now this is gonna come in here. And in this case, what's going to happen is we're going to glue it in. Forgive that there's this other side already printed on it. I was trying to maximize paper and I wanted to see how this would print. So we're going to glue this in and we might have to trim. So let's get some glue, of course, all the way around the edges. Oh, I need to get some new glue. This stuff is really getting more and more unhappy every day. So, sorry about that. There we go. That's a little bit better. Just give it enough to grab on. Okay, so let's put this. I would say let's make it match the top and the outer edge. Make sure this still closes. We want to close that. Even if it shifts this a little bit, we can trim this. We'll probably have to. Yep, a little bit right there. Not a big deal. And the fact that it has a little bit of on the bottom is also fine, but you want to make sure that this closes. So you want to say that this seam is functioning, and it is. So now I'm going to trim this my happy knife and ruler. And I'm not going to worry about too much in here. It does connect really well with the gate. So I'm just going to angle it a little bit, but get some of this extra off. Probably could have sharpened this knife, or in X-Acto terms, replaced it. So that I could probably do with scissors later. I'm going to leave it for now. So here we have the beginnings of our beautiful trifold. All right, so this we'll put in the bucket. So, you know, I wind up with a lot of things that I print when I'm designing these kits that I print and cut. And my thinking is that ultimately, maybe monthly, quarterly, I don't know how often, I'm going to do a giveaway of them. And I know it's kind of like a scrap swap, but I will send you all of the elements that I've been working with that are extra. And as you can see, let me see. As you can see, there's quite a lot of things that I work on or I print in order to create the kit and then either don't use or I printed too many. So that's an idea and I just thought I'd throw that out there. So if you're a subscriber, great, you're already in the running, as they say. But I would welcome anybody to subscribe, if only to get the goods. Okay, so this guy is now going here. And I did not score it. Yes, I did. I scored that. Of course I did. Christine loves scoring. All right, so this guy's going here. Now this guy we're adding in a more traditional way. Front, two sides front, but we still need the glue. Another thing about my kits, I try and arrange it so that when a piece is printing on a page, you know how there's a border that won't print unless you're doing borderless printing? Well, I try and use that to our advantage and have that area just print free. And you could just not trim it to here, but let it go to the border. You know, keep the border when you cut it, and then you have just that little bit of extra paper to paper connection to keep your journal elements sturdier. So, and the other thing I'll say about borderless printing, which I do love for a lot of reasons, it seems to simply expand and enlarge the page print. So if you're finding that you're printing one of my kits or anybody's kits or anything, and that things are not lining up, or the dimensions are not what you're expecting, it's because with borderless printing turned on, even if you're not doing a border to border file, with borderless printing turned on, it prints it bigger by probably about 1/8 of an inch. So know that and live accordingly. All right, so now I'm just getting this in place, and you want to fold it over and make sure that it's folding perfectly. Okay, so here I'm going to trim this side of this page just ever so slightly. Oh, you guys, is that fun? I mean, come on. Okay, so now we have to add this page, and I'm not putting any pockets in. I have done a whole big thing of, you know, inserted pockets, but it was really going to bulk it up too much. So I have revised the design, and let's glue that up for a second. I'm going to score that, or use the bone folder to really compress that. I want to make sure that this edge is not too much. I feel like I could trim it just a little bit, but I'm going to wait until, get the glue out of the way. I'm going to wait until I put this on, and then I can make that decision. So, yeah, I will trim it after, and then I could trim these both together. So my glue kind of spurted out, and I don't want to ruin the entire piece by getting glue all over it. So give me just that 1 second. Okay, so now we want to put this on. And there's not an up or down, so come on, glue. I know we ask so much of you. We really do. And without adhesives, many of our designs simply would not exist. So outside of the fact it's probably some nasty chemical company, we should be thankful that we have such things. How's that for a beautiful pattern? Okay. Now, this guy goes on here. And I'm going to line it up to this edge, because this edge I think I'm going to trim just a bit. Okay, so now let's make some more glue squirt out. Okay, that's feeling pretty good. Ah, love it. Okay, it barely needs the trim, but I'm going to, because once we start filling this with ephemera and secrets and whatnot, it's going to bulk up even more. So I'm going to look at it from this side and figure out which is the straightest side. And I'm just going to trim it a tad, which means I may have to then trim the pockets that I have cut out for this, but that's okay. That's easy enough. So remember, we're going through a couple of layers, so a couple of easy swipes is better than one dig down. And you know what this raw edge means. Inking. But yeah, look at that. I mean, would you want to see that in yours? No. No, 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 no. Oh, we're going darker. This fabric or pattern can take a little bit darker ink. So yeah, so I'm still getting this together while I'm creating it, and I know I'm showing you how to put it together, and I should make it seem like, oh, I'm all so together that I know what I'm doing with this, but I don't, because there's so many options that are possible with it that I really wanted to put it together and then think about what do I want to do next. So my thinking is I'm missing a piece. Oh, it's on the floor. All right, so here will be a pocket for some woe. But like I said, because I have trimmed this a little bit, I'm going to need to trim this because I cut this to size. So that's going to be here, and this one's going to be here. Same thing, because of, you know, when you fold paper, it actually eats up some paper. So we want to trim and make sure that it's going to be the size that's appropriate for the new width, the constructed width. So I can see here I'm going to take a little bit off. I want to make sure that it's going to close. There we go. I wish I was more together. Don't we all? Some days I feel very together, and then other days I feel like the disaster I am. But it's a good disaster. It's a joyful disaster. I'm just going to take probably about 1/8 of an inch off here, and I'd like to do it straight just because it helps me sleep at night. Good. And then this one's going to have to come off just a little bit too. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to trim it just to, I'm just eyeballing it. Maybe too much and maybe too little. Let's see. Well, it feels like it could go a little bit more. I'm going to take this one a little further. Just a tad. Okay. All right, that looks like it'll work. And that, let's see, let's close all these up. These are the kinds of adjustments you'll want to make when you do it, because again, your printer is different. Everything is different, which makes life fabulous, but also a little bit frustrating. All right, so this is going to fit just fine right here. and it will close. So I'm going to put this one in. So this is a pocket, and as you know, I typically like to do pockets more like on the front that go with the gusset, you know, the flaps you fold under. But in this case, this is already, it's going to be so bulky. Well, it's not going to be so bulky. It's going to be bulky enough that we don't want to add too many more folds and flaps. So I'm just going to do 3 sides of this very simply. And if we can entice the glue to come out. And you really want to be as close to the edge as you can so that the pocket has as much room as possible. So now I'm going to come in here. And again, the biggest consideration in this is that this can close. So the fact that that's a little bit over is not the problem. We want to make sure that this can close. So when you close it and it adjusts a little, let it. Okay, so we'll let that dry. Look at me living dangerously, putting glue on my mat. So that's one. And this is cute. This is little skulls and a cross. That was fun to make. Okay, so this seems like it doesn't need trimming. Let's see. No. So this one we can't trim. Like this one we can trim. This one we cannot trim. So we want to make sure that it's in right. So I'm going to trim it a little bit. You know, again, I create them so that they work. And they do. But it's quite possible I had my printer set on print borderless and it made everything a little bit bigger. So you always want to measure twice, so to speak. Okay, so more glue, same thing, staying near the edge. Here we go. Do, 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 do. Ooh, uninked. Uninked. And once I lay this baby down, there's nothing I'm going to be able to do about it. So let's give it a little love right now. All right, so we're going to stick this in. Okay. And again, the key is, does everything close? That still closes, and this will close better right now when I trim this little extra part off. I know a lot of people would use scissors for this, but I love my knife. Making a little bit mess of the bottom here, but clean that up. Okay, so that made for an edge, as you could guess. Everything had been inked. Okay, beautiful. All right, so there's the main go at it. One thing is this goes here. Sorry, the wind just picked up. This goes here. I thought I might do 2 pockets on this actually, so I'm going to hold off for a few minutes and take a look at the rest of my printouts and see, what was I thinking? Was I thinking that? It's possible I was thinking that. Or I was just thinking this. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this because I have lots of stuff to put in here. And I don't want to, again, bulk it up too much. I already have some bulk here. So let me spend a few minutes with my inspirations and I'll come back. We just need to finish things up. So here is some of the ephemera that we have. And in this area, I'm going to take this. This is great. This is a tax stamp from the IRS for dispensing opium. And that seemed appropriate for Wednesday's child. So this, I want to just make a pocket. So I'm gonna just take the glue and as carefully as I can, make sure I don't glue the wrong sides. And we wait for the glue. Here it comes. Okay, and then trying again to get it as close to the edge as possible. And I just got glue in there, so let me rub this off. That little spider web of glue will not help the cause if we want this to be a pocket. But I like to turn it this way because I know my gluing tends to be closer to the edge if the edge is at the tip of the glue bottle. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to put this a little off center, just up here. Okay, then there are all these little medallions, and I have this W. I'm going to take them, the whole alphabet is included. Let's get this here, just a little dingbat. You know, there's so much in this kit, and there's so much you can do with it, and I expect you'll find your own way to use all the elements. There could be a lot more collage than I'm doing. So here we have a marble paper file folder and the whole point of the kit. Monday's child is fair of face. Tuesday's child is full of grace. Wednesday's child is full of woe. Thursday's child has far to go. Friday's child is loving and giving. Saturday's child works hard for a living. And Sunday's child is bonny and blithe and good and gay. So this is going to go in here. Stick this in here, and that's where that's going to live. I can actually go all the way in like that. I didn't turn my phone off. Sorry about that. I usually do. I put my whole world on quiet. Okay, so there's that page. Then on this page, we're going to make a tuck spot with this, and this is supposed to feel like a Ouija board indicator. I'm sure that thing has a name. Everything has a name. But I'm just going to make this into a tuck spot. So I'm just going to glue maybe here and let everything else sort of live inside. That should be enough. And I don't know, about like that. So we'll give that a few seconds to dry. And then things like this, these cards, journal cards, can just get tucked inside here. There's any number of things that could happen with this. Okay, so now going into here, I have a little pocket. This mischievous looking broken dishes dead doll, the cat who's a little perplexed. So this is going to be both a pocket and a tuck spot. So first I want to cut this, which I haven't done. And some of the cutting I've done obviously off camera. Close to center. And ink that baby up a little. This one I did round the corners. See, I forgot to ink that. So maybe I'll just cut the whole thing out. That will make it cleaner, because I print on the other side if it's going to show like this typically. So there, problem solved. And if I don't print on the other side, at the very least I will ink it. All right, so now this needs to be made into a pocket, which is just going to be by gluing these two sides closed. Voila. And on the back it's just the plaid. Oh, let's get back to inking, inking. And again, because it's a pocket, see, I should have inked this before I closed it, but you guys are smarter than me. You'll remember to do that. So now this is a pocket and a tuck spot, because the whole issue, the idea here is to have pockets and things for stuffing. So the tuck spot's going to be on this side. And I want it to hang off the top a little bit, so I'm going to keep the glue not going all the way to the top. Okay, maybe our little girl here has been asked to stand in the corner, although in a household like the Addams family, she would be perfectly celebrated if she'd broken the plate. So here's just a little tag, part of the kit, and this woman looks quite woeful, so she can come in here. Let's keep that and that. So we're going to stick these guys in here. Okay, then we have this card, which is this emblem. Now I have this in a couple of ways, and you're going to see it. I'm going to put it here, but this could go here, this could go here, or any number of these items. So this one, I do want to add some lace to this. So I'm going to grab the other glue and I close up the finicky glue and be right back. A lot to do, a lot to do. I'm a little bit behind on several fronts. So what I'm going to do, because I am messy, is grab a piece of scrap paper and stick it in here to protect this from the gluing I'm about to give it on this pocket. Come on, you could do it. So now this is a piece of lace that I cut off. It was bound, so it was ruffly, but I don't want it ruffly. So I do want it to stick up like that and have sort of a ragged edge. And then I will trim it to there. And then when it's dry, I'll trim off that. So what I thought I would do is this. Originally I was going to make this into a tag. And I did make one into a tag. It doesn't have a string. But instead, I think I want to put this right here as the emblem for the school. So let's give this some glue, and I do want it to stick up. So I'm not going to glue the whole thing. I want it to extend, is the word I'm looking for, over this. So let's put it about here. Lovely. I'm going to trim this. Fantastic. Okay, so now this pocket can take, again, any number of things. Make sure that it doesn't get glued shut by all of that happy glue. A couple of different things, trusses and back braces and seemingly terribly worrisome contraptions. Okay, so here we could put the toe tag and probably don't need two ends here, but I like this print a lot, so I might do something else with it next. Put this here, the toe tag, and then this of course could be inserted really anywhere into this little tuck spot even. And there are a couple of other things in the kit. I usually provide extra stuff. So this can come here, journaling space, and that's what all this is meant for, is journaling space. Here this opens up, or you could glue it closed and make another tag, but you get the idea. Oop. I want to make sure that it comes in and out. And our fussy cut hand, and it has the stripes on the back. Can go in here, and any other number of things. I mean, this could go in here too. Kind of works. And there we go. And that is Wednesday's Child is Full of Woe, and the kit's called Pockets Full of Woe. And that's basically what it is. Just pockets and pockets, and tuck areas and places. There's woe, there's a toe tag,